Hi everyone, my name is Dom DiCaprio, and today I will be talking to you a bit about the Seychelles Archipelago. So, to start, we are going to be talking about three different topics today. The first topic is what is the Seychelles Archipelago? So, I'm going to walk you through what that actually is and everything it has to offer the world in the modern day. The second is what threats is it currently facing and how is it being destroyed? And the third main topic I'm going to talk about is what efforts are being used in the modern day to save it and are they effective in what they're doing. So, to start, the location of the Seychelles Archipelago is off of the eastern coast of Kenya. So, an archipelago is a small collection of islands all together. And as we see here, we have six separate islands that make up the Seychelles Archipelago. We have North 1, Silhouette 1, Mahi 1, Praslin 1, Aradai 1, and Ladug 1. In between these six separate islands, we have a huge collection of animals and wildlife and nature and people and all these different beautiful things. On top of that, the Seychelles Archipelago also includes all the ocean in between it, which would be the Indian Ocean and all that connecting wildlife and coral and other areas such as that. So to start, the one topic that really brought me into the Seychelles Archipelago had to do with its own natural beauty. So just looking at this beautiful collection of islands and all of the trees and wonders that are out there to explore. Many areas haven't even been touched in the Seychelles Archipelago because they have not been explored and fully fleshed out yet, which I think is such an amazing, wonderful, mysterious thing. To continue, the other thing that makes the Seychelles Archipelago so unique is the amount of animals that live there, especially rare and endangered species. We have huge collections of mammals, birds, insects, crustaceans, reptiles, amphibians, and beyond, just all to look at and admire and just wonder. And it's such an amazing thing that all these collections of these animals can live in one place in harmony. On top of the animals that live on land, we also have the animals that live in water. We have a beautiful amount of fish and crustaceans and all other animals like that live in the surrounding waters of the Seychelles Archipelago. On top of that, we also have the beautiful coral reefs that we see that are completely stunning and wonderful and just beautiful. We also have the people that live there. Well, it's not a huge booming community as it would be somewhere here in the United States. We do have a good community that is living there, and the people really care about taking care of the Seychelles and making it live on as long as it can. As we see here, we have many different topics already to see that they're doing conservation efforts. We have windmills, solar panels, people replanting, all different topics like that to help take care of and protect the Seychelles. So this is mainly why it's important to me, but I truly think that these four topics, going back a little bit, the natural beauty, the animals that live there, the coral reefs and fish that live there, and the communities that live there are such a wonderful, beautiful thing that anyone would love to go visit. I think it's a stunning place, and I think it's something that everybody should experience once in their life to see the beauty of what nature can do for us and how amazing it is every day. And while there are beauty in it, there are also major threats that the Seychelles Archipelago is facing in the modern day. To start, the major issue that the Seychelles Archipelago is facing is large amounts of pollution. So this pollution comes from many different sources. Of course, they're all human related, but there's different plastics and trash and oils and all these different things that we have created by hand that is just coming into these areas and just destroying it piece by piece. And it's not just necessarily the people that live there that is causing all of this pollution and trash. It is also even people over here in the States and in England and in Asia and other parts of Africa all of these different areas are polluting, and it's all getting into the ocean, floating over the Seychelles and washing up on its shores, destroying it, making it look as just terrible. On top of that, the other major issue that the Seychelles archipelago is facing is a large amount of tourism. Well, tourism in and of itself is not necessarily a bad thing. Massive amounts of it can easily be destructive. By people going and swimming, especially through the coral reefs, swimming through the coral reefs, they are breaking it down when they step on it, and they're ruining it by not being careful. And by living there, you're building bigger buildings, more people coming, you have trash that they bring, and all these different issues that they're bringing when they go to visit this natural place, destroying it piece by piece. Finally, the final threat to the Seychelles archipelago is probably the biggest one on this list, and that has to do with climate change. So, as we all know, climate change has to do with the major amount of CO2 that we are pushing into the air, and it is eventually causing the Earth to heat up and water levels to rise. So as we're having this happen, well, it doesn't necessarily seem like it would be something that would really affect the Seychelles archipelago. It definitely is, because the amount of water that is being risen is taking these islands and completely covering them, killing almost all of the wildlife and nature that is living there. So let's talk about some ways to save the Seychelles archipelago. The first major way to save the Seychelles archipelago is through taking care of the pollution that is there. So there's many conservation efforts that are being put in to do this, and a lot of it is person by person, just going through and setting up barriers so the trash can't get into the island, going out and personally removing this trash. Different things like that are really helping to take care of this pollution and minimize it, making sure that it doesn't keep on ruining these beautiful islands and the fish also stay away from it. The next major thing that is helping the Seychelles archipelago is this new creation called the Blue Safari. So the Blue Safari submarines are both a group that specializes in resorts and hotels, but they also specialize in excursions specifically around the Seychelles. And while it does seem like another form of tourism, this is actually tourism that is meant to be productive. So all of these submarines that are being used are personally made to ensure that they don't get too close to the coral or the fish. So they ensure that they aren't destroying those areas. On top of that, the submarines are specially made to put the least amount of pollution into the water as possible, which is helping immensely. And finally, a large amount of their proceeds go into conservation efforts, ensuring that these fish can go on in their everyday lives and these places will be protected. The final and almost most relevant piece is the debt relief plan that the Seychelles archipelago has in place. So the Seychelles debt relief plan centers around this idea of taking debt and putting it into conservation efforts. So this means things of like the people of Seychelles, when they get into debt, when they start paying that off, instead of the money going directly to the government, any excess money goes straight into conservation efforts. This also has to deal with foreign debt relief. So things of like if China was in debt to the Seychelles archipelago, instead of China sending over a whole bunch of money, they enter that money directly into conservation efforts to ensure that Seychelles can be protected for many more years to come. So, do I think that these conservation efforts are working? Yes, I definitely do think these are working to a certain amount, but I don't think they're working fast enough for everything to work. I think that people are naturally making it much worse, and the amount of pollution that is getting into these waters are almost double the amount that is being taken out. We are moving at too fast of a rate with all three topics: climate change, pollution, and tourism, that is inherently destroying all of these topics. And of course, I can go on and on and on about how changing the climate and getting it back down to be protected and not polluting. And that's all stuff we can do here at home. But those are topics that affect many different areas and not just the Seychelles. So I really wanted to put my idea in to really, really protect it. My main idea is to completely stop tourism for an extended period of time. I don't necessarily think that the Seychelles needs tourism at this time, unless you're doing programs like the Blue Safari, where it's actually helping. I think that we need to lay off on tourism because we've definitely seen during the COVID-19 pandemic, which we are still putting ourselves through, that as tourism is banned in the Seychelles at the current moment, the amount of destruction that has been had there has already been rapidly decreasing because people are not constantly there destroying it every single day. So I think extending that moratorium on these tourists would really, really help take care of the Seychelles and protect it. So in many years to come, we can actually come back and enjoy it and see the beauty of it and how it should be, not the way it is now. And that was my presentation on the Seychelles Archipelago. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope you enjoyed it.